Welcome to another episode of the Zebra Influencer Series. In the case we have not had the pleasure of meeting, I am Scott Reyes, the Senior ISV Manager from Manufacturing, Transportation, and Logistics. I have the distinct honor of working with software companies, alliance partners, and organizations that focus in on innovating to resolve operational challenges for our customers. In my function, I get to help ISVs navigate our Zebra ecosystem. Here at Zebra, we're so committed to our customers. We take pride in looking into the future and not only anticipating the needs of our customers, but we work with our partners side by side to help resolve those needs and work alongside our valued customers to bring these new solutions to market. Our special guest today is Damian Peterson, who is the Senior Vice President of Havensight Consulting, and he brings over 9 years of experience in the SAP consultation world. Damian, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here today.
Hey, Damian, so let's jump right into the conversation. Can you tell us a little bit more about Havensight?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So Havensight's a niche consulting and implementation firm focusing on mobility for blue-collar workers. We help companies realize the greatest value from their ERP by deploying an elegant mobile end-user experience to maximize adoption. And so some of the examples of our work are field mobility for maintenance tracking, mobility for inventory tracking, mobility for field scheduling. And the approach we take is leveraging SAP native products and SAP native offerings to provide value.
Excellent, Damian. So can you explain to us how Havensight helps with maximizing the ROI from an SAP investment?
Yeah. So the way to maximize ROI in your SAP investment is to solve for how do you get clean, accurate data collected at the point of performance. And it's all about making your ERP more powerful. So ensuring the solution actually gets deployed and adopted so you can get the ROI. So the pitfalls we most often see are the data never gets into SAP, the data is entered into SAP at a later time, the data is inaccurate, or it's in a spreadsheet someplace else, not in SAP. So how do we get clean, accurate data collected at the point of performance? What I really like about our teams is they're really good at quickly getting to know your business, right? Your business drivers, business process flows, and then defining an optimal mobile process flow to fit your business. And then to ensure adoption, we focus on the user experience. Because if we create an elegant user experience, those users are going to find this new process to be faster, easier, and useful. Here's an example I'd like to share with customers transitioning to SAP Asset Manager. In most cases, organizations actually see an increase in the number of work orders per year because end users are submitting better data, leading to better communication, resulting in improved maintenance activities. Essentially, if the users are using the system, then you're going to get the ROI. So we get really focused on what's the business drivers, what's the optimal process flow, and then aligning an elegant user experience to ensure the solution gets adopted.
Interesting. So from an EAM perspective, maybe you can dive into what are some of the drivers for adoption of your SAP implementation?
Yeah. So we've seen a number of projects. You buy the technology, you deploy the technology, and then the technology sits on the shelf for one of two reasons. It didn't work as advertised, or it worked as advertised, but it didn't provide the business value. So let me give you a common example with inventory management, right? So a technician hands a storeroom worker their work order with all the parts needed to do their particular job. That storeroom worker walks around the shop gathering items required. And as they're doing so, they're going to write down the quantity, maybe the serial number or the batch number for the parts they're picking. And they're just jotting that down on a piece of paper. And when they collect all the items, they'll go back to the window and hand those parts to the technician. Somebody now has to enter the data of the inventory that's been removed into the SAP system. In most cases, what we see is the storeroom worker collects a pile of pick sheets, and they'll take that pile to a clerk who's then tasked to enter the data into SAP. Now, if it's done relatively quick, then you've got a pretty good idea of what's in inventory if you're managing part and inventory levels. What normally happens though is that pile might sit for a day, 2 days, or maybe a week. And now there may be some critical parts, Scott, that are needed for an emergency work order, and they aren't on the shelf. So let's relook at this